we're live. We got it.
It's pretty good. Saw myself camouflaged in the background. Are we monitoring over here? That's good. I don't know if he's gonna come to the meeting. You taking a picture? I didn't know it could do that.
Take a picture while streaming?
Yeah, that's wild.
Well, it doesn't know that it's streaming.
Well, how would it? We haven't told it. I haven't told anybody. Have you? Okay,
No.
so it's a big day, man. It's May 31st, which
Memorial?
it's Memorial Day. I mean, that's a big day, but even more, it's fiscal 2's quarter report
Yeah.
coming out.
Jeffrey Bezos.
Big news coming from Bezos.
Bezos sent us an email.
Well, he sent Joe Biden an email.
Who sent us an
Yeah.
email?
Because if you guys are new here, first of all, welcome to Salsa Parlor. I don't know what our listing is in the S&P 500, but we just broke in, so that's pretty awesome.
Well, it was an honor to get added to the Suck My Penis 500.
I mean, listen, we've been blowing dong for a while, but finally, when we got Suck My Penis like status, incredible.
In the 500s. The S&P 500 is kind of like the Daytona 500.
But for penis sucking.
Yeah, for penis sucking.
I mean,
Well,
listen.
they're both actually.
Right, I don't want to listen. I don't like to come off condescending, especially to our viewers.
Right, of course.
But I mean, sometimes you got to explain these things because people are new to it. Finance.
People don't follow finance.
Well, yeah, it's not something they teach us in school.
They definitely don't.
Like, at what point in high school do you remember a teacher sitting you down saying this is a Suck My Penis 500 report?
I'm still blown away they didn't teach us taxes.
Well, that's fine. You learn that in college. And if you don't go to college, then believe me, you're not going to have to worry about taxes.
That's just true.
Unless you're a plumber, a skilled tradesman, an entrepreneur, a businessman, a business owner, or somebody who wins the lottery,
Or
which
a freelancer.
freelancer people, if you do
Most
that
people
stuff,
that don't go to
listen,
college.
even if you're on unemployment, you still need to know about taxes.
It's amazing.
It's
They
pretty
don't tell you. They
remarkable.
don't tell you anything.
Well, so we just got our quarterly report from our CEO, Joe Biden.
Mhm.
Not to be confused with the exact same Joe Biden, who is also the president.
Same guy.
Same guy.
not to be confused. It's the same guy.
It's the same guy. I don't want to confuse people.
It's a super uncommon name.
I'm getting a phone call, and what are they over under that it's Joe Biden?
It's pretty high chance.
It's actually my girlfriend, who's
Joe
not
Biden.
Joe Biden.
It's my girlfriend, Joe Biden.
It'd be pretty
You can
wild.
take it. I'll put the camera on
All
me.
right.
I'll mute your mic. I can't do that.
No, you can't do that. Hello? Hey, babe. Not too bad. I'm on air with Zachary right now.
Welcome back to 97 Wood, the
Oh,
ticket.
okay, you
the
driving
ticket
back?
to all your favorite tickets.
Oh, okay.
It's a carnival.
well,
That's
I
the
will talk to you
carnival
later.
radio show. Welcome to the ticket.
All right, love you. Bye.
Costs 4 tickets to ride the Ferris wheel on the ticket.
There it is.
Yeah, well, that was for her.
I appreciate that. I don't think she liked being. She wasn't on air, but
She didn't know.
no, I think she was like, "Whoop."
She heard on air, and she said you're in a plane.
Well, yeah. She's like, "Huh?" Drink top. Well, I think the test run's going great. We
Mhm.
finally got all the tech figured out. And for those of you that can't see the dusty Magnavox in the corner,
Right. Time to play a little bit of Expedition.
we should do that. You want to do it right now?
No.
Do it
if you
on.
haven't watched Bo Burnham's special on Netflix, check it out.
It's pretty good.
It's real good work that he did. It's an hour and a half long. It's a half hour longer than every white comedian stand-up special.
Well, he does a lot of music.
That's true.
It's a lot of it. Yeah, would it be quicker if he didn't do music?
Yeah, it would be an hour quicker if he didn't do music.
So he's got 30 minutes.
No crunch tonight, Alex.
Ew,
Memorial
what
Day.
does
It's
that mean?
closed. No crunch.
Yeah, no crunch tonight.
We can't do it.
We should have known that, but I guess I didn't check the calendar.
I just assumed that Crunchies would take any business they could get during these tough times. these trying times.
Here's something. Is Memorial Day always the last Monday of May? How do they... I feel like I'm a bad American because I don't know when Memorial Day always is.
I don't know when Memorial Day is. I'm not even sure it's today. Alex, when's Memorial Day?
No, I'm pretty sure it's today.
Memorial Day.
I could have made a bad joke.
When is Memorial Day? If it tells me today, stop it. Is Memorial Day dead? It said it's today.
Yeah.
Is Memorial Day the same date every year?
Hey, to be fair to Google, Google's had to answer some pretty ridiculous shit in the last year.
They
and
answered
a half.
that correctly.
They
Yeah.
nailed that.
In 1971, Memorial Day became a national holiday by an act of Congress. It is now celebrated annually on the last Monday in May.
See, that's pretty dope because that's Congress being like, hey, guaranteed 3-day weekend.
Exactly.
I don't like that it's kind of like Easter though, except not
5
Catholic.
things not to do on Memorial Day.
all right,
Ready?
let's hear it.
Don't wish anyone a happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are dozens of ways you can honor your Americans fallen this Memorial Day, and they don't include saying Happy Memorial Day. Don't thank the current troops.
Yeah. That one I learned kind of in the last decade. That one
These
came out.
last 3 are pretty stupid.
Okay.
Don't disregard its importance.
Yeah.
Don't forget it exists.
Okay.
That's a pretty obvious one.
Nobody, I mean, obviously, other than the joke we made earlier.
About not knowing what day
Yeah.
it is. Don't let politics keep you from rendering respect.
Yeah, that also makes sense.
And if you use Adobe Premiere, you should know that rendering respect takes a lot of power.
A lot,
of
which is
computing
what the government does.
Yes.
Got a substantial bump. It is weird to me. I wonder, do you think Memorial Day is gonna come under attack here pretty soon? Because it seems like lately, like during Vietnam, post Vietnam, people were not cool to the troops. And now it seems pretty safe to be like, you're cool for the troops. Which I'm like, you probably should be if you're talking shit in this country.
Here's the thing. You can be anti-government and anti-military and
Yeah.
still respect and support troops.
Yeah, well, I think it's cliche at this point to point out that the troops are the reason you can talk shit about the troops or about anything within this country.
Yeah,
right
exactly.
now. Like,
you gotta. I'll tell you what.
It's pretty cliche.
It may be hack, but you gotta give it up for the troops.
Give it up for the troops, man. Because if you don't, like, come on, man, what, you gonna give it up for the other guys' troops?
Here are some things to say instead of Happy Memorial Day. Ready?
All right.
You guys can try this out at home.
All right.
Enjoy your weekend.
Okay.
But I want you to know that I will be remembering what this holiday is.
Oh,
about.
wait, that?
That's literally.
Wait, is that what it says?
Yeah.
No, you made that last
Enjoy your weekend, but I want you to know that I will be remembering what this holiday is about.
Wow, that's pretty remarkable.
Enjoy your weekend, and I will be thinking about those who are no longer with us. These are all so condescending.
Did you go on condescending Happy Memorial Day, whatnottosay.com?
Website.
Really?
I will be taking a moment this weekend to honor those who served our nation and are no longer with us. Imagine if you saw somebody and you were going to say Happy Memorial Day, but instead you said, I will be taking a moment this weekend to honor those who served our nation and are no longer with us.
Man, okay, yeah, that's such a FU thing.
NPR simply suggests, I hope you're having a meaningful day.
Jesus,
it's actually
man.
what you should say. NPR simply suggests.
NPR.
I hope you are having a meaningful day.
Okay, when were there 2 more?
No. This is the best part about it. Those seem preferable too, thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Happy Memorial Day, obviously. That's the no-go.
Yeah.
Is this a difficult weekend for you?
Oh, Jesus. Why don't you ask how many people you've killed after that?
How many friends did you
Oh, jeez.
on your deployments? Who are these people?
No, you know what tells me? This is like the same thing as like teen magazines that give out sex advice. That's not real. That's somebody made that shit up. Because nobody's saying that shit for real.
I don't think I've ever said any of these things except for Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah, I might have said Happy Memorial Day when I was younger, but
yeah, I would say Happy Memorial
and
Day
then
when I was
thank you
younger.
for your service is a weird one for me now because it feels like disingenuous. It just feels like what people auto say to people in
automatically say it.
the military. Yeah, and then I don't have the mental wherewithal. Like I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty. Memorial Day is never happy for me. Like today, I'm melancholy today.
No,
'Cause, like, when
Memorial
it-
Day's never a happy day.
Yeah, when it sets in, like what today is about.
I used to go to my great grandfather's like platoon's memorial.
Yeah.
He was in the polar bears.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what the polar bears are, viewers, I don't know if I can.
No, it's no. There you go. Split the difference, or you could lean in. There it is.
If you don't know what the polar bears are, it's actually really interesting. I have a book, you can borrow it. There was one regiment or platoon, I'm not sure how big it was, that was sent to Russia during World War I to help fight the Bolsheviks.
Mm-hmm.
And my grandpa was in that, and every single person in that division was from Michigan. And
World War I was wonky like that. They
was
still
wacky.
did. They still did like by territory in town,
yeah,
and then
you'd
by
be in a platoon of people from your hometown and shit.
right. But then like they quit doing that after World War One because if like a platoon got wiped out, a town was just like, I guess we don't have anybody coming home.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was kind of insane. If you don't know anything about World War I, it's way more interesting than World War II. It's because there isn't as clear cut like Hitler bad, Holocaust bad.
Yeah, it's a little bit more nuanced.
It's a nuanced war that was arguably more horrific.
And convoluted.
Yeah,
Like
it
the
was
way it
very
started was weird. It was basically a pop off to be like, hey, we got all this new war tech and we're all kind of at each other's throats for no real reason other than everybody thought they were the biggest kid on the block.
Yeah, it was a petty war. There's a lot of stuff. I got a lot of opinion. Trench warfare, baby. Yeah. There's a lot of if you don't want to read about it, there's some really interesting books on World War I. But if you don't want to read about it, the podcast guy.
Oh, I thought you were just gonna say play Battlefield 5.
Yeah, play Battlefield 1. But if you know, there's some good documentaries and stuff. But there's a podcast guy that's he has like a 5-part series. It's like 25 hours long.
Yando wants to know. Well, we did skip because we
did
took
skip
Memorial Day weekend off,
Yeah.
but we're here today.
On Memorial Day
Yeah,
itself.
Well, this is the
We're here to
quarterly
say
report.
Happy Memorial Day.
Well, no, Zach, I'm here to say I'll be reflecting like a good person. Why don't you just say I'm better than you?
That's what those.
That's what all of those
sentences say,
sentences say.
I'm better than you.
Because when did Memorial Day hit for you? Like, when did you finally know?
Oh, I was like 5.
And you were like, this is not a happy day.
Yeah, this is an unhappy day. This is
Yeah.
a sad day.
Even in college, man, I would go home on Memorial Day, and I know classes are out and whatnot, but it's not the same as like Labor Day weekend. Labor
No.
Day, it's like, yeah, it's
Labor Day's fun.
well, Labor Day is like, hey, we all work, fuck it, let's get drunk. But like Memorial Day, unless you're kind of keeping your pulse on the country, I think people just treat it like another like let's get boozed up and wrecked kind of weekend. And like, nah, there's a lot of people hurting this weekend.
No, from a young age, back to the polar bear thing. From a young age, I went to my great grandpa's memorial, and his like platoon and shit. And they did like a whole thing, and they had like guys in World War I clothes and shit, like uniform, and it was always like sad.
Yeah,
And so like from the moment I was like consciously thinking about where we were going and what day it was, it got significantly more like, oh yeah, this is like fucked up.
Yeah.
So that Memorial Day was never like a, oh yeah.
yeah.
It's
like,
a holiday, baby.
ooh, yeah. I don't know, man. Like, I feel lucky in that I know a good amount of people, good chunk of people who've served and a lot of them not really physically injured. Some of them are mentally like, ooh. I've seen the mental scars, man. That shit's tough.
I'd argue they are worse
Oh yeah,
than any
yeah,
physical.
yeah.
I would take no leg or no arm over it's like that, like
I
hearing fucking
mean,
shell shock.
dude,
Shit.
I don't want to. One of my buddies, like, there was a while there where somebody described it to me as like a terminal illness, but like mentally, where they're like, yeah, there's nothing you can do. Like they are either gonna pull themselves out of this or they're gonna die,
Yep.
and that to me was pretty fucked up. And did the war do that to him? Maybe. I mean, there's definitely some pre-existing conditions where you're like, oh, that's fertile soil to plant a fucked up tree.
Mm-hmm.
But again, lucky that nobody I know personally very well has died. But having said that, friends of friends or my buddies who did serve, who they definitely lost buddies in the war. That's when it really sunk in for those guys are like, don't fucking thank me today. And I guess I get that because of the I don't want to sound like an ass, but maybe guilt or something like that, working through.
Well, you silently thank the guys that didn't come back. That's
Right,
basically the
right.
mentality.
Right.
Uh,
I don't know, man. I don't like to get too sad with it either, though, because it's like you should also celebrate a little bit because you're like, all right, like they did pay a sacrifice, and maybe.
Well, that's why people get boozed up, I think.
Well, I was gonna say maybe one somber day isn't bad. You know, today you're somber for them, but it's like as long as you remember, like the rest of the year, and you don't have to be like toting about every day of the year, being like I'm fucking free because of these, like. But you know what I mean, like.
I think it comes down to I don't know. I think about there's a story that I heard about my great grandpa.
Yeah.
When he was a polar bear.
That's a fun clip.
He was a polar bear,
Yeah.
and being a polar bear.
Yeah, doing polar bear stuff.
Yeah, rolling around in the snow,
loving Coca-Cola.
He loved Coca-Cola. He was a polar bear. No, but my great grandpa. There's a story that I was told when I was younger. Hilariously, that they told like a child the story, but apparently
it's America, baby.
His like platoon was like ambushed at night, and he like heard it, and he was like the first one to like hear some shit happening.
The Bolsheviks,
the Bolsheviks doing some Bolshevik.
Yeah, some
bullshit. And so he manned a mounted machine gun, like. Because he was like on watch or some shit. But he jumped on a mounted machine gun and proceeded to murder the living fuck out of so many people.
Yeah,
and essentially single-handedly saved his platoon from an ambush by just mowing down people. And
that's how it be.
I'm just like, and he was also one of the ones in the platoon to make it back, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot. Let's just say there's a lot of American flags at that memorial.
Yeah. Again, man, it goes back to that when you had your platoons or regiments from the same town. Like, dude, can you imagine it? Like almost wiped out, and then you go home, and it's just a constant reminder of all your buddies you lost because they're also not at the exact same place.
You wonder, like, why is there a memorial there? It's like,
right.
because there was.
It's like half the town gone, gone. You think they would have learned that after the Civil War? Because the Union, that's how. The Union and I think the Confederate States both regimented up by state and then counties and cities within that state. So they'd be like, I'm from the 40th Maine.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, man, the 40th Maine's gone now. I'd be like, I guess that part of Maine doesn't have 1,000 guys coming back. Like, oh, okay.
That's, it's crazy. I don't know. I think about that shit a lot because it is so wild. Having a great grandpa who's essentially viewed as like a hero, is weird.
Yeah,
like when you have like a an ancestor who was like a hero
Yeah.
because his like uniform and medals and shit are in a museum.
That's wild.
Like that whole concept is just fucking crazy to me
Ugh.
because whenever I'm like jacking off in the bathroom
Grandpa's watching.
and I'm like, oh man, I'm waiting on an email. And I'm just imagine my grandma just fucking
But, you know,
killing people.
check this out. He probably jacked off after that event.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He probably did.
It all gets tied
No,
together.
I'm not saying like immediately after, but like
later on.
Yeah, that would probably be wild. I mean, like to do that, and then some time would pass, but you'd crank your own weasel again.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
after killing a bunch of people with a mounted machine gun, eventually you jack off.
I think that shows you how deep jacking off gets people.
Sometimes you just gotta come.
It's just gotta get it out. That's the body being like, we need these seeds to go.
We have to come.
Mm-hmm. That's wild to me. I
Yeah.
get why Buddhist monks who don't come just start floating and whatnot.
Mhm.
It's like, of course. Could you imagine what you would get done if you subsided the urge to come?
Yeah, if you just constantly were like, I don't need it.
Yeah, it's just incredible.
But that's the thing.
You would
is-
break the simulation.
Yeah,
Right.
every guy starts. If you wanted to do that, every guy starts off like SpongeBob in that
Yeah.
episode with the water.
I don't need it.
I don't.
I don't need
need
it.
it.
Nah, you need it. And that's how you celebrate Memorial Day.
I don't need
I
it.
don't need it.
I don't need it.
I need it. And
I need it.
I don't know, man. I haven't really been partaking in the news or newsly events these days, but
You haven't seen what's in the news?
no,
Jeff Bezos is black now.
What?
Yeah,
Well, he's got
that's in the
enough
news.
money. He
Yeah.
can do whatever he
He
wants.
can literally say anything.
Yeah,
Jeff Bezos could be like, I'm black now.
he's
We're
got
like,
enough
"Fuck."
money. He could say anything twice.
He could say anything twice.
He could say anything twice. No, man. It just, I don't know, dude. Point I was gonna kind of bring up is, you remember, again, like post Vietnam, people were
wasn't there.
spitting on troops. You weren't there.
I wasn't in. I wasn't in.
You was in 9/11.
I wasn't in 9/11.
Pretty sus, dude.
I didn't do.
What were you
it.
doing on 9/11,
Oh, we
bro?
lost our. We only have one person now.
I think it's us.
No, it can't be.
Well, they're all probably paying.
Respects.
I don't know. I don't know.
You
what
guys
to
playing
say.
Call of Duty today?
I
This is
don't
the
know.
one day you don't. This is the one day you
It
don't play
blows my
Call of
mind how
Duty.
many people don't get that joke when I do it. They think I'm making fun of veterans. I'm like, nope. Pointing out the fact that we monopolize off of their pain and suffering, and it's pretty insensitive.
I'm playing as your friend now. I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Oh, nope.
Oh, I
I
died.
guess I'm playing as your buddy.
Looks like I wasn't your buddy. Looks like I wasn't you. Looks like I was your buddy you're always on about.
Yeah, that's a
like-
good joke.
Well, yeah, but people get real. That's how I can tell if that joke works. That means people are paying attention. If they're not, they're just there for yucks. And I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yucks.
But I don't know, man. No, point I wanted to ask, and I hope we don't get back to it, but I'm kind of worried about the state of the country. Is like, how long you think until this is bad, but like I don't think it seems like right now, even in cliched ways, people are still respecting the troops, but I don't know if that's gonna hold up, man. Like, people are taking pop shots at everything. There's zero I'd say healthy American. Well, no, that's too pessimistic. There's not a lot of bipartisan American pride right now.
No, absolutely.
It's-
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think I don't know. I don't think it'll ever be people don't respect the troops. It will always be.
Well, I think troops are starting to hit back. I don't know if that was a thing. Those guys coming home from Vietnam. Again, I wasn't around then, but they like got spat on and like, oh, I'm sorry. I feel like if you spat on a Marine today, he would kick the shit out of you.
Yeah.
Like, and I'd kind of be like, yeah, man, you had that coming. You spit on a Marine, like you're
Well,
gonna get your ass kicked.
It's also like, if you, I don't know. I think most regular people, I
Mhm.
say regular as in like, people who just understand
Yeah.
shit, like
Yeah.
understand that like I got my brother's not in the army or anything like that, but like
I like how you preface. He's in the Coast Guard.
he's in the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
He's not a Marine, you know.
It's Coast Guard's. Jokes aside, Coast Guard.
Well, I'm saying
they're
like
out
when you
there,
think
man.
like thank you for your service,
Right.
you're not talking about the Coast Guard guy
Right.
9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
So it's granted that Coast Guard guys do some crazy shit,
Yeah.
but it's like
I think if you look at it, the casualty reports are
largely Army.
Yeah, Army, Marines,
Uh,
and then Navy.
Yep. And then Coast Guard.
Yeah, and then even crazier,
Honestly, Coast Guard probably has higher casualty reports than
Air Force probably.
Yeah.
Now we're pulling numbers out of our ass. Something that scared the shit out of me, like when I was younger, or didn't, but should have, is the Special Forces community, active duty, has about a 50% casualty rate.
Yeah.
Like, that's absurd.
It doesn't surprise me.
No, it doesn't, but the amount, like, now I get it why there's even foundations just for, like, Special Forces community families, because, like, Jesus Christ, man. That's half
Half of, yeah.
That's
It's literally like if you signed up to be in the Special Forces and
I mean,
you flipped a coin.
right, and it's those guys, again, hats off to them, because I'm like, they tell you the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
The whole time. They're like, yeah, this is what you're signing up for. And I don't know, man. That's
But I think the biggest thing if you want to disrespect the troops, you have to or disrespect military people, right? Is that you got your flag toters, you know what I mean? You got your like America's the best kind of people. Or like, you know, you got your people that are in the military because they're patriots and they want to they're like, I'm doing the right thing. You know? You got them, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but you have those people, and then you have people who join the military because they didn't know what else to do.
Yeah.
And that seemed like a good option. You got the people who join the military due to the promises of like good pay and
school. A lot of people for school.
And so when people are like, if you ever have like TikTokers or fucking, you know, Gen Zers that are like, fuck it, fuck the troops, what are you doing? You Israel Palestine or whatever.
Are they doing that?
Well, they're all fucking people will yell at shit because they don't get it, and they're just they want to seem like they're on the right side of history, and the right side of history for them is being mad at the troops or whatever the fuck. But you can be like, here's the thing. There's a huge difference, and I don't think that like Gen Z understands this, like TikTok understands this, is that you can be anti the military budget. You can be anti-government spending on the military. You can military occupation. All that stuff is fine. That doesn't mean you have to be anti the military and who makes it up. You know what I mean? Right. I don't think they make that nuanced separation where it's all the military. So they're like, fuck you. That's where you get people spitting on the troops.
I think that's
it's even
it
worse
happened
in Vietnam
more
because of the draft.
Right,
like you're spitting on troops. And it's like they didn't even ask to do this.
Right,
shit.
and then they're asking, you know, that was the one thing about Vietnam too, when they'd be like, "Oh, you could have dodged the draft." I'm like, well, then you are potentially, you know, treasonous and have to either go to prison or jail. I don't know, man.
I'll tell you, I don't care how much I disagree with what the country's doing. If there's a draft, I'm not going to dodge the draft.
Yeah, me neither.
You just play your part. I also couldn't like morally do it.
Yeah.
Because my grandparents,
right,
great grandparents and stuff, it's like they all went because they got drafted.
Right. And I mean, dude, there were conscientious objectors in the military that still got drafted, and they're like, well, fuck it.
There are people who object to what the military and government are doing that are in our military now, and they signed up.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean shit. Sean, I don't want to speak. Everything I'm saying.
Yeah.
If the government is listening,
100% accurate.
Is a lie.
Gotcha.
You know, I'm lying right now.
Okay.
I'm making all of this up.
All right.
When I speak about my brother in the military.
Seaman first class.
But my brother has, you know, he's expressed opinions all the time that he hates he's like, I can't believe that the military's doing this or whatever.
Yeah, here's the thing, man. There's tons of grunts that are
Yeah.
they're like, I don't dig
Well,
what we're
that's why-
doing, but it's kind of my job. Like,
Yeah, the people that are like, but half the goddamn military is anti-Trump.
yeah.
Well, while he was in office.
Yeah, man. I don't know, dude. It scares me too when the military is kind of like the last bastion of hope, because as much shady stuff as the military does at times, it's also sometimes the paragon of what the country can be. Because again, experiments and stuff aside like that, which usually comes from top down, bottom up, military is pretty progressive.
Mhm.
Like in weird ways, right? Like I don't know, integration of troops is integration of male and female troops is something that's still up for debate, and I don't really want to go into that right now. But like if you look at racial integration and payment integration, and it's like it's still not the best track record in the world, but it's usually a little bit ahead of the country itself. So it's like when the country was still dealing with like pretty horrific racial divides, the military was like, hey man, we're all in this together. And it's like the guys that serve together are, that's where that band of brothers romanticism comes through. Is like that nothing I think compares to the suck acidness of war. And if you come out the other side alive with whoever went into it, there's just an untangible, like, hey, a lot of your
you
shit
talk
doesn't
about
matter.
progressivism and like and integration, all that shit.
Yeah.
I think half of Sean's drill sergeants in boot camp were women.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, man.
It's so when you hear like, oh, this and that in the military is this conservative monster, and
Right,
you're like,
right.
yeah, but my brother was getting screamed at by a woman
Yeah,
who was in charge
who
of-
probably got his shit together.
Yeah,
where it's
exactly.
Like,
I'm like, you
it-
don't fucking know what you're talking about. It's
yeah.
Because Trump said some shit about trans people in the military.
Well, yeah, that was a point I was gonna bring up, is when he tweeted about that and everybody was freaking out. Top brass in the military kind of clapped back like, hey, that's not how we do this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like this, like you might be the commander in chief, but there's rules for how we, how we are given orders and how those orders are then put into play. He's like, it's not through Twitter. Like,
exactly. Exactly. I don't know. It's always been so fucking wacky and wild to me.
right.
And also at the end of the day, and I know this thing it's hack at this point, but it's like, and people make that same kind of joke with the cops, where it's like you can be anti-cops, but if something happens, you're gonna call 911.
right. Right.
But it's like anti-military all day,
Dude,
but the moment something
Yeah,
happens,
yeah.
you're like,
I don't know if you've heard a new bit I was working on. I did the Ron Taylor shows, and it was doing pretty good. But it was like my first attempt at the defund the police, and how I'm like, nah, like no.
yeah,
I've been around some rough departments, maybe refund, and like the core of the joke is still a joke. But yeah, man, I can feel the backlash of just angry people who aren't gonna hear me out. But it's like, you can acknowledge that something's bad and needs to be fixed while also acknowledging that it needs to be a thing. I'm like, yeah, man, like I don't want to be in a land without police. Like
I just don't want to live somewhere that it survives off vigilantism.
Yeah, man. Well, we're kind of skewing from Memorial Day, but we'll get back to it. But looking at that like the DMZs they had in Portland and Minneapolis and stuff like that, like at face value, I'm like, okay, like people have had enough, and I for sure get that, man. Like when Big Brother or the law is out of line, I get needing a good old fashioned fuck around, good old fashioned riot. It's a wake up call. But what weirded me out is like the weeks to months in America where they just kept like policeless zones. And then you look at it, and it took, 2-3 weeks for those zones to have their own kind of dictatorship and crony police forces of their own to take over. And that's when I'm like, hey, does nobody else see the irony in this, or like how difficult it is to do a a policing job. Now, again, covering my own ass here, do I think we need some reform and more training? Yeah, that's something else. I think is hilarious is people are talking about more training with less money. And I'm like, in what fucking world has that ever been a thing? In what world has that ever been a thing? Like, look at the best trained anythings on the planet. And when have you been like, they did it on a budget?
No, it's funny.
I'm like, no, never once have you ever, like, I mean, jokes aside, there's underfunded things that do incredible things still, but like, as you know, an overarching theme here, it's like, yeah, man, the best funded shit usually does pretty amazing. So, but I don't know, man. Kind of going, I was going to wrap it back to the somberness of Memorial Day and kind of, you know, cooking weenies over a fire and remembering those that had died to let us cook weenies over a fire. And
I'll say it. Yeah. I'll say this in regards to all this. This is like legitimate opinion, like no bit, you know.
I feel like we did like 3.5 minutes of just horrendous bits up front that have been pretty sincere throughout the whole. We didn't get to the quarterly report at all.
I walked the line.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
But
yeah, you did make fun of your brother for being in the Coast Guard.
Exactly. But it's when people are like, "Oh, this is how it is, and this is that, and we gotta do this, and fuck these people, and fuck this shit." It's like, man, there are shitty cops. There are fucking shitty racist cops.
Yeah.
There's assholes. There's shitheads in the military. There's dickheads. There's fucking guys that you would never be friends with, and there's guys there's guys in the military that enjoy killing people. There's there's cops that enjoy having the power they have.
Yeah.
And there's cops that legitimately just want to do a good job and be a good cop and be good at their job. There's people in the military that just want to go to college.
Yeah.
It's more complex than you could ever try to make it seem. And it's not as simple as saying this is shitty and this is how it is. If you're fucking the best way to say it is do the people in the military that enjoy shooting brown people suck? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Should they be in the military? No. Do the cops who enjoy beating the shit out of black people suck? Absolutely. Should they be cops? Not a goddamn chance. Is there anything we can do about it? No, because you can't screen for racism. That's just how it works. You cannot. You will never be able to, and you cannot screen racism. It's just, if you were having a job interview and you said, "Hey, how's it going? So your resume looks great. You everything. I just one last question before we hire you. How do you feel about black people?" And they were like, "I love them."
Yeah.
Guess what? What are you gonna do? Call them on it?
Yeah. Be like, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think you do actually.
Your Southern Civil War flag.
So the people that like, oh, we caught this cop doing something racist, call him out. Every single time.
Yeah.
If you catch somebody in the act of doing racist shit and abusing their power to do racist shit, you call them out. You find who their cronies are. You find what they're doing. You go after them. But that's pretty much all you can do is catch people in a racist act or saying racist shit and then get them.
I will say, they've done. I mean, there's a reason there's psychological screenings, but those fail because you know, if you're halfway decent at lying, which I'm sure a lot of racists are, they'll lie,
you try to hide it,
and then man, and then you know, kind of going into more of a systemic problem of the great American Republic experiment, but it's like and this is something that's dumb, but like some days I'll just not have enough time to put my brain power elsewhere, so I'll think about racism and why it exists and why it's there, and I'll be the first one to admit, like, sometimes I'll just have shit that pops into my head that I know is not me, where I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why did I just have that thought? And it pops in, and I'm like, all right, it's something bubbling up from the great unknown of consciousness. And then the other times is I'm like, okay, so we all have that. I think it's just human nature. And then I remember maybe not the best example of scientific expertise, but Neil deGrasse Tyson and Bill Nye the Science Guy
Mm-hmm.
were talking about stereotypes
Mhm.
and the science of stereotypes and why they exist. And it's like, well, your brain from a tribalistic, upbringing will see something that's different, and usually as a protective measure to yourself when it notices something that's different or like humanoid but different enough, it's danger. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, it's danger. So I think, and this is a very, very fucking homebrew where racism comes from, is it just comes from not understanding just different things, and because of things being different, people being fearful, and then when people are fearful, they get defensive, hostile, and anger, and it's then it's the path to the dark side. Fear leads to hate, or
Yeah.
fear leads to anger, hate, all that shit. So it's like, I don't know, the grand experiment, right? Like, how do we beat racism? But
Time.
well, time, and I think you just go like, hey, why are you racist?
Uh-huh.
And it's like, oh, you probably don't know the people you're racist
It's just
towards.
the more you associate somebody, like force them to associate
Yeah.
with the thing they are afraid of,
Yeah.
the less afraid of it they become.
Right. Yeah.
If you were afraid of spiders,
yeah.
but then you were forced into a job
Mhm.
caring for spiders,
Right.
all of a sudden,
Right.
a week later,
And-
you're like,
And here's the thing: are there going to be outliers of people who that just doesn't work for, or
Yeah.
like some people are just going to be terrified of spiders,
arachnophobic forever.
or black people,
Yeah, yeah.
as you so camouflagedly called black people spiders.
Yeah. As somebody who's
Uh,
afraid of spiders,
I'm like, okay, listen off.
I definitely am talking about spiders.
There's a lot of spiders,
in Detroit.
Yeah. Man, dude, spiders are so good at
Spiders are so good at
Yeah,
basketball.
I was gonna say, you got
spiders
it.
are so
Yeah.
fast.
They
Man, why
got-
do spiders keep fucking my girlfriend? No,
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about this before we end this
Yeah.
thing. I wanted to talk about Rome.
Okay.
We're history boys, and this is a great for our one viewer.
Yeah.
I talked
I'm
about
pretty sure it's us. We're watching ourselves.
this doesn't count as a view.
At some point, it dropped to 0.
That's how I know it
Okay.
doesn't.
All right. All right.
But ancient. I said Rome, and somebody's like, nah.
Nah.
No, but Rome is super fascinating, and I
Uh.
wanted to ask you a question about Rome.
Okay.
But first, I wanted to talk about how a lot of people don't know this shit about how Rome handled race.
No.
Because it's not convenient for the narrative. But
Okay.
but Rome actually was not racist towards black skinned people, like
Mhm.
dark skinned people. And Rome, obviously, Latin people, they have
Mhm.
that olive skin tone, but they actually kind of viewed Africans and like North Africans specifically, but just like Africans in general, and dark skinned people as like
Carthaginians at the time.
Carthaginians
Yeah.
and shit. Egyptians.
Mhm.
They associated them with Egyptians. Anybody that was brown skinned, you got associated with being Egyptian.
Okay.
So you got respected. You were
Yeah.
respected because you've been around forever. You were the
The
foundation
cradle
of
of
civilization.
cradle of
So
civilization.
there was
yeah.
this like they held from what I've read, they
Mhm.
held black people to like this level of respect
Yeah.
that even Italians didn't hold for each other.
Okay.
Because of Egypt and shit. However, vice versa, they viewed pale-skinned people
Mhm.
as barbaric
Right.
and all that shit. And
Yeah,
most people know
the-
that, like pale-skinned people were
The
considered-
Germanic tribes and
They had all those stereotypes. You're tall.
Yeah.
You've got a huge dick.
yeah,
All this shit.
yeah.
Like
Again, oh how the tables
Yeah.
have turned.
exactly. You're tall with a huge
yeah,
dick.
Yeah.
White people so
Yeah,
tall
so
with big
tall.
dicks.
They won't
So-
stop
so
fucking my
muscular.
girlfriend.
yeah.
You're basically telling me Italians started racism?
Yeah.
Okay.
Kinda.
All right.
I mean, Chinese people did too.
yeah, well,
Egyptians had a form of racism towards the Nubians too, because they
Yeah.
were very black,
Yeah.
which was kind of interesting. And then you had, I know they were like, because
Yeah.
Nubians were like really black,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
very dark skinned.
yeah.
And then they had a thing against Greeks as well, which weren't the Greeks at the
I
time. They're
mean,
like the
but
Mycenaeans.
what is coming down to is they're just hating on anybody who's different.
Yeah, exactly.
It goes to like
But they hated people that they perceived as either a threat
right.
or as either a threat or as less than them.
Right, that I see.
that's
What's crazy is
racism.
that it hasn't changed.
It
Yeah, it's like
hasn't
that's
changed at all.
exactly it. Yeah,
But that's why it's not about what color you are. It's never been about what
Right,
color you are.
right.
It's about what.
yeah.
That's why
It's-
America's racist towards black people is because they were literally slaves 200 years
Yeah,
ago.
in group out group. Yeah, and that one, like that one's just like
Should I say
there you go.
140 years ago.
Yeah,
130? When did that end? 1877?
Nope. Emancipation Proclamation was 1863, I believe.
1863.
I think.
So 160 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, less than 200 years ago.
yeah.
Uh,
That's the other thing that's fucking wild, man. Like
America's very young
yeah, and then
in regards to that.
here's the other thing: the integration of slavery and racism. I'm like, oh, that's two bad things coupled together.
There's
That's
bars
horrific things.
older
like,
than the freeing of black people.
yeah, in this country,
Yeah.
and they probably celebrate that.
Exactly.
We've been around since before freedom. Like,
Give
all
it
right,
up.
yeah, give it up for the
other
troops.
thing is sometimes I'll think about whenever people are like shitting on the troops.
yeah.
I think about
Well, wasn't
ancient military.
yeah,
And I think about like when Rome was getting cozy.
yeah,
About like people in Rome being like, goddamn fucking military, goddamn what are they doing? What are they doing over in fucking up there? We don't need them up there. We need them here, or whatever the fuck they were complaining about.
well, the legions pulling the empire apart because of allegiance to the generals. But what was the main point you were gonna make about Rome? Was it just the fact that racism back then again was just purely based on people who were different, and because there was superiority complexes?
Well, it was fascinating because it was Rome literally viewed as like. Again, I could be wrong. It's been a while since I read about this shit. But Rome, like Italians and Latin people, literally viewed black people as superior, as like a superior race to them,
right,
and because of the cradle of civilization,
right,
and viewed white people as inferior.
right.
And it's like you don't really see that now, where like white people aren't walking around going Asians are better than us, but those black people, it's not like it's either superior or nothing.
Yeah.
So it's interesting the nuanced racism that occurred then.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, well, those Egyptians started it all, but those fucking barbarians.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know, man. I know it comes from an immense level of privilege that people that's something else that I'm like, okay, I wanna talk about that more, but I know it's so fucking daft for me to say like, man, I'm just fucking over it. Like, I wish we could, but like clearly, it doesn't affect me as much on the daily. But in a human sense, I'm just kind of tired. And as somebody like, I spend so much time in existential dread that like sometimes coming back to the present and seeing like what's bugging people, I'm like, God, that's fucking dumb. Like, I'm like, it needs to be addressed because it's clearly affecting people at a personal level, and you can't move on until it's addressed. But I'm like,
Burnham is a good song about.
Does he? Yeah, because
opinions and being a white guy.
Yeah, I need to watch that special. But I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. I don't want a Freaky Friday. It's just today, Memorial Day, usually pretty melancholy. And I think one of the reasons I'm more bummed out is, I grew up as like a little I Love America kid.
Mm-hmm.
And, I had to grow up learning some harsh realities. But I'm like, man, there's still a good number of people who died to keep us going. I'm like, man, if we fucking hang ourselves or shatter from the inside out, I'm like, fucking shame on us and shame on the people who died to keep this going. Because I'm like, we're better than that. And that's that's I think why I'm very bummed today, because I'm like, man, when the country's separated and really fighting itself and nobody can get along, like that's to me the biggest disrespect to the men and women and anything in between that died to keep this country going. Because I'm like, you motherfuckers, like we can fight everybody else, but the in-house shit we need to start talking and having some tough love and fucking get it together. Because I'm like, dude, if somebody died only to have ourselves shatter
Mhm.
from the inside out, I'm like, shame the fuck
It's
on
happened.
us.
It's happened hundreds of times throughout
I know.
history too.
Yeah, that's how empires fall.
Yeah.
But I'm like, shame the fuck on us.
It's it's a shame. It's a bummer. I don't know. I think I don't I try not to whenever I'm talking about stuff that I feel like my opinion isn't really needed,
Right.
I try to keep it either purely about what I know.
Yeah.
So like not an opinion. It's just like, oh, this is how it is.
Yeah.
Like the Rome stuff.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a little bit of
It's fun
historical
stuff.
facts.
Yeah. It's in the
Uh,
books.
But it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna tell you whether or not this is that because I didn't grow up dealing with
Right,
racism.
right.
But like when it comes to the when it comes to like whether or not you should love America
Yeah. Yeah.
or like respect the troops or anything like that, it's like you should. You
Yeah.
shouldn't like here's again nuance. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
love America, love your country, you're born in it.
Yeah.
Everyone you know lives in this country.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Most. Yeah.
Yeah, most of the people, your family is if you're American, your family's American,
Yeah,
all your
yeah.
ancestors, whatever the fuck. And I'm that's speaking as somebody who we're not through and through American.
Yeah.
Like Eastern European came over on a boat, right?
Yeah.
It's
Our families have been here significantly less time than most African American families.
right, exactly.
And then on top of that, way, way less than Anglo Americans.
Right. Being a like my I think it was my great grandpa was the first generation. So like
Yeah,
1900 was
yeah.
basically when my
Yep.
family got here. And that's when you're like now my mom's side of the family has been here forever and you can
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel the difference.
Yeah.
My mom's side of the family's been here literally since the Revolutionary War, I think.
Damn. Okay.
Whereas
old whites.
old whites, and you can feel that energy.
Yeah.
Whereas my dad's side of the family is that fresh off the boat,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you can just kind of feel the
We go to America. Like,
yeah.
yeah.
My grandpa's a pickled eggs, fucking,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's and so very harsh, abrasive, like that's the kind of
Yeah.
vibe that whole family gives off, and no bullshit.
Yeah.
There's nothing sugar coated. People, you fight each other.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
fight frequently. It's the tough love, abrasive mentality.
Yeah.
My mom's side of the family, that's old white. It's passive aggressive.
Yeah.
It's but
established.
it's established.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and whereas when I say like love your country, it's like I love this country for what it is, right?
Mm.
The concept of what it should stand for,
Mm.
and the fact that it gave my family coming here like opportunity
Yeah.
and all
yeah.
that shit. And the hilariousness of like my great grandfather coming to this country, you know, that idea of them coming to this country and then immediately fighting a war
Yeah. Yeah.
for this country.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's hilarious.
Dude.
And I guess to summarize it,
Yeah.
it's hate the country, sure. You can hate America, you can hate its systems, you can hate its fucking laws, the government.
Yeah, the
but
bureaucracy of it all.
America
Sure.
as a concept
Yeah.
for what it's tried to do right.
Yeah.
You should like it.
No, I agree because I think, you know, history rhyming with itself. America's going through another great immigration, and people are saying the same shit about immigrants now.
That
they
were 100 years ago.
Yeah, and that blows my mind. Like as like Bostonian Irish people are like, God, dude, you believe we need to build that fucking wall? I was like, people said they needed to send you home on the boats like 100
Yeah.
years ago, you fucking idiot. Like, Like, oh,
Exactly.
what are they gonna have gangs that don't fit in here? And I'm like, yeah, read your fucking history books, man. And it's funny because we fight it every time. Like, you look at the waves of immigration into this country, and every time they're like, it's never gonna be the same. And it's like, yeah, probably not, but like you were part of that, difference. So, um, and I think if America embraces what its ideologies at its best are, uh, that's when we are untouchable. When you do tear down the stigmas and you take away the fear by just extending a hand. And I think the middle ground in America is, everybody's like, oh, we've got no culture, or, it's not the American culture. I think the most American thing ever is, unfortunately, genocides and slavery, years gone past, which we're still trying to figure out. But, having a little plot of America to call your own, roll your sleeve up and shake your neighbor's hand and be like, hey, what are you about?
Mm-hmm.
And be like, okay, when we're at your place, we do things a little bit your way, my place a little bit more my way, but let's meet in the middle and be kind to each other. And yeah, rather than being fearful of what's different, embrace it. You'll enrich your life and the experiences and be better for it. And again, man, I think to really honor people that have died to keep it going, we owe it to the fallen and then to ourselves to keep this going and make it as best as it can be.
We're on a good. Honestly, if we do the right things, we're on a good track.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
as long as we do the right shit.
We got a hurdle coming here, and history rhyming with itself. I think we have a hell of a conflict coming our way. But
I'll say, take a step back, guys. This is obviously Memorial Day, and pour one out. But take a step back and I know shit seems like it's dog shit, and it is dog shit, in certain respects. But acknowledge the fact that right now, for the first time in American history, black people can publicly have black pride.
Yeah.
And it's not only socially acceptable, but it's people are do it.
It's in vogue, yeah, and it's good too.
And more white people than ever want to hear black opinions, black stories,
history that was whitewashed. There are so many things that I idolized as a little kid that now I look back, I'm like, oh, those monsters. Okay, rather than blowing Andrew Jackson Jihad being like, the guy fucking ruled and he fought with pirates to keep the British from taking over New Orleans. I'm like, oh no, he fucking did some atrocious shit.
Yeah.
And it's you can learn and relearn history, and people that were heroes or idols, you can be like, okay, they weren't who I was taught at the time. And I don't think we should rip down every hero or person in nuanced things. But yeah, kind of going off of what you were saying, the country has done pretty remarkable things to try and right the wrongs of its past. And now more than ever, I think more people more than ever are willing to relearn, turn their empathy on, and shut up and listen. And I, as two white guys talking about it right now, I'm like, okay, I get it, whatever. But dude, there's a reason I'm a lot. I don't talk as much about serious things as much these days because I'm learning again. And when I'm learning, I don't speak out because I'm fucking learning.
It's yeah, I don't know, man. You got a lot of it's a lot of other people's turn to you said people have said this a million times, but it's other people's turn to fucking to tell their shit, talk about shit, and do their thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's dope, but I've had that opinion literally since I was 9. So
well, if I've ever learned coming back from existential dread to reality, being like, what the fuck is going on? I think I've learned it from you, where I'm like, what? Oh, this is trivial. But
it's It's amazing to me that I'm hearing like 25-year-old white girls say shit like they're saying something, and it's an opinion that I've held since I was like an 8-year-old.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I wonder why. Probably because I've had black friends since I was 8.
What?
And I didn't have to fucking.
Is that why you're so comfortable saying the N-word?
That's why.
Yeah, I know.
That's why. No,
Yeah,
it's just like when I hear that shit, I'm like, oh, you just now met people that aren't white and you're hearing shit, or like the internet taught you that black people have opinions.
Yeah.
I'm like, you fucking dork.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get into dorkishness. But yeah, there's a lot of dorks on the internet. And I'm like, really? This is just a thing for you now?
It's wow, you're just now. You feel the need to tell people. It's Bo Burnham talks about that.
Yeah,
kind of
hot
shit too.
take, Brittany.
Yeah, exactly. But
yeah.
I appreciate you guys listening. We got kind of serious.
Oh, we didn't even get into. Well, so we'll save it. Our CEO Joe Biden will have the Salsa Parlor quarterly report.
Next
That's coming
podcast.
out. I think our IPO is launching at about $3,500 a share.
Mm-hmm.
We only have 4 of them though.
Yeah, we only have 4 shares.
4 shares. Joe Biden's gonna hold on to 3 of them.
So you got to buy 1.
1 share. And here's the thing: it cannot be split up. So you're gonna have to just buy it in its entirety.
Yeah, we can't divvy that one up.
But it is on the S&P 500, so you're gonna see some growth.
But thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. We're looking at the screen instead of the cameras. Also, I think it's just been on me for the last half hour.
There it is.
There you are.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, guys. See ya. Pour one out for the troops and the peeps that are not here, that let us do stupid fucking podcasts. All right. See you guys. Bye.